Good morning. It is Sunday, March 10th, and I decided today would be a good day to actually pull out my camera and start filming a little bit of my raised garden bed journey. I wasn't sure if I was going to turn this into a video or not because I really don't know what I'm doing. This is the first year I've tried to do a raised garden bed or grow any type of vegetables on my own. But I ended up deciding I just wanted to document the journey and see the progress, and yeah, so that's what this is. So this is what I've got going on so far. I have an 8-foot by 4-foot big raised garden bed in our backyard right off the deck. These are 2 layers of 2x12 pine that are just kind of like screwed together on the ends, and then we use construction adhesive to put the 2 layers together. There aren't any other brackets or anything, and it's also untreated wood because they said you don't want to use pressure treated wood if you're going to be growing things in it that you plan on eating, because I guess the chemicals aren't good for you. Then on the inside here, I've just got a ton of logs that my husband helped cut up that we got delivered, and I also threw in a bunch of leaves from our yard to try to fill this up. It said 50% should be logs. Oh, and there's also a layer of cardboard on the bottom that you can't see, but there's a ton of cardboard down there, all my Amazon boxes. I also decided to go a little bit above and beyond by doing a layer of these like brick, they're just bricks, they're like paver bricks all along just the perimeter of the box, so the wood is sitting directly on that. Like there's no bricks on the inside of here, there's just the grass or soil. My idea with that is just thinking it might preserve the wood a little longer if it's not sitting directly on like wet ground. But who knows, we'll see. This is so expensive that I decided I want to try to make this last as long as possible. So aside from trying to protect the bottom of the wood as much as possible, I also did a layer of, I think it was called tung oil on all of these boards. I massaged all the oil into the boards and let them dry and wiped it down. Apparently that is food safe and it should just make them last a little bit longer. And I didn't want to do paint or staining because I don't know, I was a little worried about that leaching into the soil. But yeah, the tung oil is on inside and outsides of all the boards. So on the bottom, I've got my cardboard. Then I have all the wood logs and leaves. The next step is supposed to be like organic materials, so any food scraps. It says, I think it was 10% of the bed is supposed to be food scraps, but for an 8-foot by 4-foot box, that is a lot of food scraps. I don't have nearly that many, so I'm gonna be a little light on that aspect. And then I just went to Lowe's and I picked up 5 bags of this raised bed potting mix, but I think I'm gonna need 9 or more bags, so I'm gonna have to do a second run. This is my handy dandy wheelbarrow that has been making my life a lot easier to get things from the car to the backyard where we're working. But yeah, this is what we got going on. My idea is eventually to do like another bed here, if this year goes well. Do another one here, maybe even another one here, because this area gets full sun during the day. Because it's been really rainy lately, the area around the box that I've been walking as I'm distributing logs and stuff, it's getting all like muddy and gross. So my plan is actually to try to do some like gravel or stone around here just so it's cleaned up, and obviously the grass is gonna get all messed up the more I walk around here, so instead of it just being a mud pile, it could be gravel. We have this area in the back of our house that's filled with all of these stones, and it's just kind of growing moss and weeds and debris and stuff. And it's got this wood trim. I just think it could be a lot nicer if we took out all the stone, replaced this wood with maybe some sort of like brick or masonry block, and then did soil and plants in here. So I'm kind of thinking I'll repurpose these stones and put it over around my garden bed. I think I am going to insert costs as I go along. I personally wanted to calculate it for my own reference, but maybe other people are interested. Because we are in New Jersey, and we are apparently, I think, zone 7B. I think it's 7B, maybe it's 7A, I'll double check. But that means that frost tolerant plants can go in the ground starting basically right now. And then everything else is ready to go in. I think April 15th is like the last frost day, and that's when everything should get planted. So because I have an 8-foot by 4-foot bed, I was gonna section it off with ties that I like staple into the wood to get like a 1x1 grids going. And I laid out exactly what vegetables I want to grow in here and what herbs. I tried to do some companion planting. That's a whole other thing I don't want to go into, but I'm going to try to grow broccoli, eggplant, peppers. Those 3 are actually ones that you start indoors as seeds. So I already have those going and they're doing really well. So I have high hopes for those. I'm also doing green beans, cucumbers, beets, spinach, and I think just herbs after that. I don't think there were any other vegetables. I will take you inside and show you my seeds that are doing well. This is my little indoor setup for the seedlings. I already had this cabinet because I used it to grow plants. Like the top shelf is all of these plants that are basically in critical condition. This is like the ER of my plant collection. So I already had the grow lights in here. The only thing I changed was I bought a heating mat off of Amazon. It's kind of hard to see, but it's this little black thing in here. It keeps the seedlings at a certain temperature. And I also propped it up with a whole bunch of boxes because you're supposed to get them really close to the light. This is what they look like. I feel like such a proud plant parent. Everyone is doing great. I just thinned them out last night, so they were all in much smaller containers, and there were multiple stems. So I just kind of broke them all apart and put them in their own little pots. And then I also have this oscillating fan that's blowing on them because it said that'll help them grow stronger and not be so leggy. Are you excited about the garden? Maybe we'll grow some catnip. Meow meow. She's so cute. And then look at this one. Hello, you like this cushion? Not to brag or anything, but I did sew this cushion. That's why it's sitting here, because I took some pictures of it and I have to put it in the room that it's gonna go in. And I got this basket thing. Oh, sorry. I got this at Goodwill for like storing blankets and stuff in a guest bedroom. I got a little tag. My friend bought me these. Says handmade with love by Coral. Hello. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. All right, it has been a couple hours and I finally finished picking up all the bags of soil and compost. I also went to Starbucks and they gave me this big bag, garbage bag, full coffee grounds, which are supposed to be good to throw in the garden. That was free, which was nice. And then I got a bag of earthworm castings at Home Depot. I think I probably don't, like, I need more of this, but to be honest, I don't know what it's for. I guess it's just good for the soil, like, I don't know, extra fertilizer. I don't know, I'm learning as I go. We've been collecting food scraps in this Home Depot bucket for a couple weeks now. It's just been sitting on the back deck and it's, I don't know, maybe halfway full, so not a lot there. But then this bucket here is almost completely full of food scraps, so I only have that one full one, the other half that can go in the bed. Otherwise, I kind of don't have anything else. Here's a little top view of what's going on. So we've got cardboard on the bottom, then the wood logs, then it's supposed to be plant waste, then compost, then topsoil. I'm thinking I might try to find some more leaves around the yard, like rake them together and throw them in here just to get in between all the logs and fill out those voids, because the amount of soil that I bought a little extra, but I don't know, I feel like if all of that is still empty, I'm gonna lose a lot and end up having to buy more. So next step, leaves. Look at this little baby, she's sunbathing in front of the bird feeder. Hello. I try to keep this full of bird seed and then the birds land here and they go crazy, the cats. They love it. It's the next day. It is Monday, March 11th, and I'm going to attempt to try to fill the beds with all of the soil now. Got it all here, good to go, gloves, knife, and then these are my leaves that I'm hoping will all smush down. Okay, compost is done. I feel like I should do coffee grounds next, then the earthworm castings, than the soil, but I don't really know. I'm just guessing. Ma'am, get down. Look at the nerve of her. Excuse me. Ma'am! She's so bad. All right, this was 6 bags of the topsoil. I bought 9. That's what I calculated that I would need for the right amount of depth. But I'm gonna let this sit for a couple days and kind of smush down. And that way, if there's any hollow areas, I'll just come back and fill in those areas specifically with the extra soil. It is Sunday, March 17th. It's actually St. Patrick's Day today, and it is beautiful outside. Like, I'm in a t-shirt, it's sunny, it's warm, and I'm gonna try to get more done on my garden bed. This is what I've got going on so far. I spent a good chunk of time yesterday digging out a 2-foot perimeter around the entire box, just ripping out all the dirt, and I've got a pile here that I have to relocate. And I'm hoping to now spend some time maybe leveling this out. That way I could put down the edging and the landscaping fabric. Feel free to ignore this sloppy stringing that I did and just taped to the box. It's kind of just a temporary measure until I can get my irrigation system set up, which all of the supplies are supposed to come this week. And that's going to eventually be what segments out into 1 foot by 1 foot grids. But I needed to get 2 things in the ground here and in that corner. So just to get that partially laid out, I strung it, then I planted the seeds, and yeah, they're doing their thing. Look, she loves watching, but she doesn't want to come out on the deck. Hello. You're so cute. These are all the supplies that I picked up this weekend to try to get this project done. I've got 40 feet of black edging, and then I've got the stakes that go in these holes to anchor it down. This is more of like a heavy duty landscaping fabric. It says it's puncture resistant, so it'll be good for the gravel. That'll go on top of the edging, and then I'll use these landscape pins to just pin it in place. I very briefly tried to start removing some stone, but I was getting a lot of dirt up with it, so my husband built me this box to basically sift out all the dirt. So that is gonna be quite a large project to do this whole area. So I'm thinking if I could just get the edging done today, I can come back and put the stone in later. I'm pretty exhausted. This is a lot of work. And I think I over excavated the soil a little too much, which is a bummer because I already spread it out in the lawn in other areas. So we'll just have a lot of gravel fill in here. I also have an audiobook going as I'm doing this because I feel like it just helps me enjoy the process a little bit more and get some things off my reading list at the same time. I don't know how often I'm supposed to space these. I have 32 spikes. I think this is 40 linear feet, so a little bit more than a foot apart. Alright, I've got all of the edging in now. I really wish I didn't remove as much soil as I did, but you know, I'm learning. Next time I won't make the same mistake, but I think it looks pretty good. It's as straight as it can be for now. So next step will be landscaping fabric and pinning that down. Alright, this is as far as I've made it with laying down the landscape fabric. I've got it on 3 sides. I have fabric to do this last side, but I ran out of the pins to hold them down. Those silver pins. So I'm gonna have to go to the store and get some more. Good morning, it is Sunday, March 24th, and I am going to try to set up my irrigation system today. I ordered a bunch of stuff from this company called Drip Depot. I think a lot of this stuff I know I could have gotten at either Home Depot or Lowe's and done like local pickup. But this company I truly just felt like supporting because they do this for a living. It's all plumbing and irrigation, so I don't know, I try not to support the big box stores when possible, and the prices were comparable, so I also think maybe they'll be a better quality. And then in opening this, they sent me 2 Tootsie Pops, so like obviously it was worth it. I watched a YouTube video that I will link for a lady that was showing how she did her irrigation system, and it really helped break down every single piece and what I needed and how to put it all together. So I'm going to go off of that but modify it a little bit. The first thing that I got is this digital watering timer. This will make it so I can set up a schedule for what days to water and how long for the hose to stay on instead of having to do it manually. This one in particular I like because it also had an option for skipping if it rains. So like if it rains, you go in, you do something, and then it will skip the next X amount of waterings. Next, I got some 1/4-inch piping, and this is what's going to be running throughout the bed to distribute the water. And there are little holes all throughout the reel, and they're spaced at 6 inches on center. So that is where the water is actually going to shoot out of. This is the 1/2-inch piping that's going to transition from the hose source to the 1/4-inch piping in the bed. So this is what's like actually carrying the water from the site of the hose to the site of the raised bed, which for me is not that far, but that's what that's for. And then this bag has a bunch of miscellaneous things. I got a lot of random fittings, so like this bag here is elbow fittings, so that's going to be for putting together the 1/4-inch piping. I also have cross fittings,
more cross fittings, more cross fittings, and angle fittings.
The one thing I should mention, with this company, a lot of what you could purchase came in multiple of 10s. So whereas if you went to Home Depot, you could buy just like 1 or 2 fittings. But here, like if I needed, let's say 22 fittings, I ended up buying 30. So I do have some left over, but I'm thinking I'll use them maybe another year if this goes well. I got this Permalock for the end of the 1/2-inch hose, so that way when I cut it and I no longer need it, this will block it off from continuing to flow. This is a 3/4-inch to 1/2-inch adapter, so this is going to go from the hose to the 1/2-inch black piping that I've got. I have a 25 psi regulator, pressure regulator. I'm not quite sure what this is for, but the lady recommended it and it was very affordable. It was probably like $3, so I was like, all right, I'll get that. And then the last piece I got is a backflow preventer. I guess it's so that any soil doesn't accidentally go back up through the hose and into your house. I don't know. My husband seems to think I didn't need that, but it was also really cheap. It was like $3, so I figure I'll just get it anyways. So now I'm going to assemble. Alright, so this is my water source on the back deck. We currently already have a splitter in place, which is great because then we can still continue to use this for other purposes, whereas this side will just be for like watering the raised beds. I went back to the video to refresh my memory, so now I know which order to put all these in. So the first step is to do the timer. I'm not gonna add the batteries just yet. I figure I wanna get this all hooked up, get the grid set up, and then I can come back and start to learn how to use this and how to program it. So for now, I'm just gonna plug this in, no batteries. In the sun, it's really warm. All right, so the next piece is the backflow preventer. After the backflow preventer is the pressure regulator. The lady said that the reason for using this is to get the pressure down to a level that is good for the irrigation system. We don't need that high of a pressure, I guess, running through those pipes. And then finally, this is my 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch adapter. Looking good, looking fancy. All right, now I need to connect this 1/2 inch line and run it down to where the bed is. Okay, it's been a couple hours, so it's time for an update. This is how I laid out the 1/4 inch piping in the bed. Right now I have it all pinned down with these landscaping pins. That's not what it's going to be like forever. I bought stakes that's going to actually raise it up off the soil and be level with the top here. But for now, those, I don't have them yet. They're still on the way. And I figured because the coils were so rounded, if I pin them down in the approximate shape, the sun will maybe bake them into like these straighter lines. I made it about halfway with putting all of the fittings together by hand, but then it was very, very difficult. So I asked my husband for help, and he brought out the blow dryer, which you can kind of see over there. It's the orange thing. And we started heating up the pipes before inserting them into the fittings, and that made it go a lot quicker. So now the next step is we put the end cap on the 1/2 inch pipe and just kind of clamped it to the wood. And we are going to do some sort of hole in the 1/2 inch to push these fittings into, and that will be the water source. Also, I did not know that we had another spigot on the outside of the deck, so I relocated all of this because I think it's a lot easier to access and more direct and out of the way. Wow. I should probably also mention that the landscape edging and fabric and stones were all in here at one point, but I truly was not happy with how much I had excavated the soil and how low the gravel was sitting, and how if you just kept piling more and more gravel, your feet were sinking into it. So I ripped up all of the stones, put them in like wheelbarrows and fabric bags. It was a lot of work. Ripped up all the fabric, took out the edging, and then put a bunch of new soil all around here to build it up a little bit more. So we had some really bad rain yesterday. I'm letting all of this dry, and then hopefully by this afternoon I will be able to re-put back all of this stuff. So yeah. Hello, it is Saturday, April 13th. It is a gorgeous sunny day right now. We've been getting a lot of rain lately, so I'm finally able to get back out in the garden and try to wrap this project up. I'm realizing as I go through this that I don't think the garden will ever truly be done, but the majority of the things that I want to get set in place will be done, I think, after today. I did end up redoing all of the edging and the fabric and the stones around the entire box, so that's done and that's looking nice. Happy with how that came out. The irrigation grid has been set up for a while. I finally clamped down the 1/2 inch pipe to the box so it's not going anywhere, and I bought these angled fittings just to make it a little cleaner, and that is mounted to the box as well. And then if we follow this all the way to the spigot, it is hooked up and it's already on a schedule. So the next watering is going to be today at 7 p.m. unless I do a rain delay, which I have done for the last couple days because obviously it's been very wet. The last thing that I plan on doing to this box is to set up some hoops and some netting over the top to prevent any birds and squirrels from getting at my plants, because I've already noticed that there's been digging, like clumps of dirt are missing in the bed every single day, and I smooth it out. So I don't know what it is, I don't know when it's coming, but I don't want it here when all my plants start to grow. I bought 1/2 inch by 10-foot long PVC pipes from Lowe's. I have 4 of those, so about 2-foot spacing along the box. And then I'm gonna use these same clamps that I did to attach the hose. I'll just screw these to the box and put the hoops in. Stainless steel screws so nothing rests. This I got off of Amazon because it was a really good price for the amount of fabric that I got, and it was pretty well reviewed. I am proud to say this is the only thing I purchased from Amazon. Everything else has been sourced elsewhere. It's a really windy day today, but I just bought this bucket hat at a plant swap and I'm in love with it, so I'm trying to get some use out of it to shade my eyes and hopefully it doesn't blow away. Now that I have a bracket on both sides, I'm going to set up one of these pipes and just see how it looks. If it works, then we'll do the rest of them. I think I have to feed it through before screwing it to the box, so, you know, we're learning. First hoop is in and it looks good. Since these are 10-foot long and my box is 4 feet wide, if I did my math right, although this doesn't look like a circle, it looks more like an arch, the height from the top of the box to the underside of the hoop should be about 4 feet, but I think it's maybe a little bit more based on the shape, which is great. So when the plants start to get really tall, they will still be protected. Hoops are in. That was not that bad. Here's a close-up of just the 2 screws that got put in for each one of these mounts. And one thing I like about this is I can always loosen the screw later on and like pull this down to shorten the height of the hoops if I find that they're a little too tall and problematic. So the next step is going to be figuring out how to drape this mesh over the hoops. I read online that you can just kind of clip it to the hoops and it should stay, and then it's easy to remove. So I'm going to give that a go and see how it turns out. This is what it looks like with the netting just draped over and the plant clips attached to the PVC. Anytime a gust of wind comes though, all the clips start to pop off and this thing is just gonna take off somewhere. I need to sit and brainstorm a good way to make this easy to attach and unattach when I need to get in here. It's currently 6:52 and my water is set to go off at 7 p.m. per the timer. So I'm kind of camping out here just waiting to see if it works. And I set the timer for 20 minutes duration. So I want to see how much that wets the soil and if I need to up it or lower it. Not what I was expecting. I thought it would be like more of a spray. This is imitating a very light rain. But now I get to troubleshoot. Here we have, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, something that's a little loose and spraying. And then also the plug at the end is leaking. So those 2 areas will definitely need to be fixed, and maybe a little bit here. We're getting some running water. Everywhere else, oh, and here. Okay. So those are gonna be problematic, but everywhere else looks clean. I'm excited. It's been a couple days. I ended up getting better clamps to hold the netting on. These guys came in a pack of 40 and they're super strong. I haven't had any of them pop off since I attached them to the hoops. And then also I noticed with the wind and the sun, the hoops were bending a little bit. So my husband helped me with this, where we put a piece of wood on each end and then I attached all the hoops to this bar at the top just to give it a little bit more structure. And then everything is clipped on the tops, the sides, and the bottom. And I'm thinking whenever I need to get in here, I'll just unclip the bottom and fold it up and then get in there to do my thing. This weekend I also filled these 3 fabric bags. I think they're 25 gallons each. So I'm gonna hopefully do any extra vegetables in here, but they don't have irrigation set up, so I have to be mindful to always get out here and water.
Hi. Oh my goodness, you're so cute. You're so warm. Ooh, good shake. Yes. Meow. Tell me about it.
I think I'm at a good stop point with my raised garden bed where I'm ready to sit down and go over cost. So all in for everything that I did, it's about $570. I did round things up because I didn't obviously calculate the cost of every single screw that went into it. But yeah, that is a big chunk of change. I'm thinking if I get a lot of vegetables out of the garden, let's just say they're organic, so I could do it based on an organic priced vegetable. I think it's gonna be a couple years before I ever recoup what I put into it. I also think that there were a lot of points along the process where I could have just stopped. Like I didn't need to do the edging and the stones around the box. That was just to make it look nice and not have it get all muddy. I also could have not done the irrigation system. I just knew that I didn't have the time to constantly be going out and watering, so knowing that it's on a timer, I think I'll have a better success. Also, the hoops and the nets and the clamps, I don't know if they're super necessary, but because I'm really invested in this project, I think I would have been disheartened if some animal just came and ate all of my crops. So I really just wanted to do everything possible to make sure that they were protected. I do plan on making a part 2 to this video that's going to document everything from right about now all the way through the fall and maybe the early winter if things still continue to grow. I think part of that, obviously I'll be showing how the plants are doing, what the vegetables are looking like when they come to fruition. But then there's also still some building that is going to be involved. Like I need to either buy or make myself a trellis because cucumbers apparently need a trellis. And then I also need some sort of maybe a different kind of trellis for the green beans, or I think they're called pole beans. So that'll be in a separate video. If anyone has any advice for me about things I've already done or tips for success in the future, I definitely would love to hear it. I would like to eventually maybe do another garden box, maybe not next year just because of the cost. So if there was anywhere that I went wrong or could have saved, I would love to know. Thanks so much to anyone who decided to watch this video, and wish me luck with my plants this year.